Do you know what I was been up to?
You've been fucking crushing it on Instagram.
Video that I eventually posted turned out to be like a rage bait.
Thousands of families have decided not to send their kids to school in India.
There was nobody who homeschooled their child who was unhappy with the experience. Nobody.
Pronto just announced a Series B, $25 million, and they're valued at $100 million. This is a company called housing.com. Company was started in 2012. I think it was one of the first Indian companies where like there was such an emphasis on design. Do you remember why the company went viral? IIT Bombay legend Rahul Yadav. Dude, he's fucking a fraud.
Yo, what's up?
Nothing much. It's finally one full week in Delhi without leaving the city. It's been nice.
Is Holi today or tomorrow?
I don't. As someone who doesn't have holidays or take holidays, it is irrelevant to me. But
But you still get invited to parties or something,
dude,
no?
actually, like Holi, I feel like a lot less than Diwali.
Maybe you're not in the fun
Yeah,
crowd then.
well, हो सकता है. But like, I feel like my friends have stopped doing stuff for
Holi, yeah.
Holi a lot more. Like last couple of years,
Yeah.
like I mean, do people still do stuff for Holi in Bangalore?
I mean, it's like a very small party.
तुम आज कर रहे हो या कल कर रहे हो?
I'm to neither. My family's
Oh,
here.
okay.
So the whole week has been holy for me. Speaking of Diwali, you guys broke off a dhamaka. I saw Pronto on
Oh,
news.
okay. I was like, what are we talking about? Like Holi to yeah. So once Pronto just
What's the news?
they
What's the
just
news
they just announced a Series B, $25 million, and they're valued at $100 million. They are our first company to be valued over $100 million. So it's a fun milestone
for
for
Untitled
Untitled
Ventures?
Ventures. And they now do,
And what is
huh?
Pronto? What is Pronto?
Pronto. How do you not, like, you should know this.
I know, but
Pronto is a company that lets you book a house help in 10 minutes. So if your house help doesn't come in the morning and you're like, fuck, who's gonna wash the dishes or clean all the dust? Pronto's there.
this service is such a requirement right now. Like my family's
Yeah,
here.
I bet.
So generally we just need like house help to come in the
Yeah,
morning and we are sort of sorted. Maybe we are sorted for
yeah,
2 days.
yeah.
But now because like there are like 7 people now at the at
And
this
sometimes
house.
like you like if you're inviting like people over to a party and like your maid doesn't come in the evening, then like you want someone to like come clean up and wash the dishes and whatnot. But they're doing now 18,000 bookings a day, which is
I saw that crazy
insane.
number, no?
Like the whole category is kind of like exploded. So
Everywhere, right? Even Snapit
yeah,
and Insta
so
Help
all
are
three combined, Snabbit, Urban Company, and Pronto do over 100,000 orders a day. Can you
crazy.
believe that?
Yeah.
100,000 a day.
So then for 100,000, I think they would at least need 25,000 people to be there,
So
no?
Pronto has 3,000 daily active house helps.
Helpers.
Yes. I assume like one person can do 4 or 5 jobs a day. Because like the key thing about this industry is can we get to as much utilization as we can, because that's the only way these companies are eventually going to make money. 100,000 हो रहा है तो हाँ 25K तो चाहिए लोग. So that's a lot. That's, I mean, like that's already half of what urban companies' core businesses monthly active professionals are. So I mean, yeah, they've been fucking crushing it. They've been catching up to their competition a lot faster. They're burning a lot less money than them. I know they've publicly told everyone they've burned $8 million last year.
They raised 25, so 8 obviously they've
I
lost.
mean,
Nice.
so there is pre-seed of 2 million, and then a series
Hmm.
A of 11.25 million, and then now a series B of 25 million. So they've already raised collectively like 39, 38, 39 million. They've
Oh,
only
फिर तो ठीक
8
है, then it's
million
fine.
is, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, I'm sure they're gonna burn at least well into the double digits this year. Like I would hope so.
nice.
If that's the only way they can beat out the competition.
Do you think this quarter we can get Anjali, the founder of Pronto, on here?
That I don't know. She's
You don't know.
Busy woman. I can try. I think she wants to do a couple of podcasts a couple of weeks after the all this PR goes out. So we will see.
Makes sense. By the way, this was not an ad read, just FYI. Like it's just Anmol celebrating his
Win.
achievement. His achievement. Yeah, win.
It's
His
first
win.
Series B in
His
the portfolio.
Do you know what I was been up to? I've been up to like for past couple of
I
weeks.
know you've been fucking crushing it on Instagram. Like all my friends are influencers now.
I mean, so I honestly wanted to get some data points around like hooks and stuff because I've been recently doing more and more marketing, and I was like, I'm very bad at it, like especially creatives and all. So I was like, okay, let me just practice it. And the best data or feedback you can get is from like the audience, like actual people, Instagram and stuff. So I started like posting a video a day kind of a thing. So I would like write down scripts one day, like it will take like 3 4 hours to write down a week's worth of script, and then every day I would just wake up, record, and like while I'm taking a shit I just edit the video and upload it. It's been going good. Apparently I crossed 1 million views.
Dude, I
It's just
that one reel like really. But you also like, I mean, you got a lot of followers because of
correct.
that. Like
So
I have friends
yeah.
who like get like millions of views per reel, but then they're only at like a couple hundred or 1,000 followers.
Yeah, the reel you're talking about is basically about a reel for homeschooling. I
Yes.
basically was like, today I want to test out what are the trends that are there that people can leverage. And I was like, okay, homeschooling is a trend that is growing. More on that
Yeah.
later. And I just basically posted about the trend being a trend, something like that. And I was like, I was testing out multiple hooks there and I basically wrote down a bunch of hooks and then was like, okay, what can be the headline and stuff. So I basically was doing a bunch of things, and the video that I eventually posted turned out to be like a rage bait for some reason, because I start with like thousands of people in India have decided not to send their kids to school, and like apparently in parenting community, anything you talk about kids and stuff, like it just divides people like crazy. This specifically was turned into a rage bait and people started commenting, and I think that is the reason why
It blew up.
it sort of yeah, it grew big. And then people started fighting in comments. Like I could see in real time people like तू ये तू वो चट ये तेरा बच्चा ये होगा तेरा बच्चा ये है, like all that kind of crap is going on in my comment section.
Is this why you started then
uh,
rage baiting, like using like rage baity titles in all of the videos
I
afterwards?
I was also using it before as well, but this one was the one that clicked. And I was like, okay, let me try for 10 more.
Sundar Pichai ki shaadi nahi ho rahi wala we did well.
It was a joke on it was a pun on Sundar Pichai. So Sundar Pick Hai was the pun.
Yeah.
And I was like, I've made up a fake story like Sundar Pichai ki shaadi nahi ho rahi hai. Like he's not getting married, he's not getting rishtas and stuff. And I ended up with like eventually one girl or one family said Sundar Pick Hai. Right, then that's how he got married. And yeah, there also it was a rage bait for some reason because everybody on the internet knows that he basically married his college
Oh, I
girlfriend.
did not know that.
So I, I did not know that either. I got to know now.
Uh,
So I think be wrong on the internet. You get people get
Dude,
correcting you.
honestly, I think this is why like you should be just like slightly wrong or like
Wrong
misspell
about
something.
one
Yeah, yeah,
sentence.
yeah.
One
Yeah. Just like
sentence everything is
yeah.
right, but you just make one sentence wrong
Yes.
and it just goes
Because
crazy,
people
ballistic.
love to correct others on the
Love
internet.
to correct others. Yeah, so that's a great. I mean, I don't know. It shouldn't be an insight for everyone else, but I felt it was an insight to me. I was like, okay, there is a format here that can be used and stuff. But yeah, crazy
Yeah.
experience. So, but because of that homeschooling reel going viral, I got like maybe 80, 90 DMs from
Oh
parents.
wow.
Most of them was basically like, how do I want to homeschool my kid? How do I do that? A couple of them were like, you are danger to the society, you are spreading dangerous ideas.
Yeah, the CBSE
um,
board came after you or what?
no, nothing like that, but just people, they're like, how will kids socialize and stuff. So I figured out that one thing was clear, that there was nobody who homeschooled their child who was unhappy with the experience. Nobody. There were a bunch of people who sent their kids to school and they were like, yeah, this is not working out, maybe I will try homeschooling.
Yeah.
And there were a bunch of people who were like, are you crazy? Homeschooling doesn't even make sense. They did not even try it. And they're like, it doesn't make sense. Whenever there's a situation like this where one minority is like, there's no downsides, at least till now. There are downsides.
Yeah,
I'll come
yeah,
to that. I'm not saying there are no downsides. Okay. But this minority is very happy with their
yes,
choice. Is when I've seen that, okay, there's a trend that sort of starts picking up, and it becomes like a big trend eventually. And if you think about it, homeschooling has been the way kids have grown up till about 1800s in India. Before that, they were like, maybe Gurukul would you would send to kids to
yeah,
Gurukul, but that was also like reserved for very elite
yeah,
people.
yeah,
Rest of the people were basically homeschooled. It's not like a very novel
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Like, it's a common thing. It's not a big deal as well. So this was something that I was like, okay, there is something here. So I started researching. So firstly, I went through the comments. What are they saying? So the number one thing that people are worried about is, I think, something that you will also figure out. What do you think will be the number one thing why people say that homeschooling
No,
is
I
bad?
think people are gonna say it's because there's no socializing.
Yes, that's the
Yeah,
biggest reason everyone
yeah,
cites. And the people who send their kids to homeschool, they're like, what are you saying? Like, our kids are over socialized. Actually, we want to them to reduce
yeah. And I
socialization.
think there's
So
also ways around this. Like you can do like group
yeah,
homeschooling, or you can have like
yeah.
activities. I do think the one disadvantage of homeschooling when it comes to socializing in this scenario is if your kid plays competitive sports, like the school sports system is a good way of kind of getting deeper involved if you want to go play nationals or internationals.
So this is where it gets interesting,
Okay.
because people who want to go do competitive sports are told the most to go for homeschooling.
But that is only after like 8th or 10th grade.
No, not really.
Yeah.
So fifth or sixth standard is what I saw
Okay.
there, and that is because they're like, okay, once you figured out your kid needs to spend more time on competitive sports now, so you're like, okay, you take whatever time have you put it into the practice of the thing, and then you help them do basic shit with like other courses, and get them to a point where they pass their grades, or maybe like get decent marks or whatever. Like, your kid will not be a topper. They'll not be like a dumb person. I don't know.
Fair.
Another thing over there is, with the school is built for the least common denominator. Okay, so they have to go at the pace where everyone understands. But if you think, or if you know for a fact that your kid is, for a lack of better word, faster in understanding stuff, you can save that person's time a lot. Like, you can shrink the 8-hour school into 2-hour school, and be as good or maybe more proficient than the people going to school. Like, that is what these guys are claiming. Now, of course, neither of us have kids, neither of us,
I've been
both of
homeschooled.
us.
Yeah. But I mean, I think the flip side to that is a lot of like Indian private schools and like the schools that we went to. I mean, there was not a lot of dumb kids at our school. Like,
Even dumb kid, they were not dumb kids, but
they were just kids who didn't
like,
apply themselves.
right. I mean,
Like
I was
you
still
went to
like,
an IIT magnet school. Yeah.
yeah,
Like
but
the pace at which you were being taught stuff was definitely far faster than the average kid your age in India.
no, not really. So the pace was the same because that was defined by CBSE.
नहीं नहीं बट सीबीएसई में मतलब सिलेबस तुम मतलब साल के 6 महीने पहले खत्म कर देते हो ना 12th में.
Kind of, sort
Yeah,
of, three
I don't
months
think
thing, but that was,
that only happens as
yeah,
like the
that's not
top schools in India ना.
correct. So, but yeah, if not everyone's sending their kid to top school anyway, right?
हाँ, but I'm saying that we are going to top schools, so मतलब हमें house homeschooling से क्या फायदा if we are learning
Right.
fast.
We would not have gotten anything out of that. But firstly, to dekho, when you have a special child, right? Like, special needs are there, then you don't have an option. So that starts the base of the homeschooling. Like, the total population, that is where it started.
Yes,
कि यार इनको तो मेरे को, we have to homeschool.
yes,
Then they're like, okay, some people realize, okay, even with homeschooling, these guys are getting like decent education. Some of the risky people, early adopters, these guys were like, okay, we will also try and see for 1 year what happens, because you can anyway give an exam. That's not a problem.
yeah,
This was, I think, 10, 12, 13 years ago. This was when our friend Raj was trying to do something with homeschooling in India, and he basically came across the audience which is early adopters. So they are like, we want to try everything. So there's no business to be made there. Like everyone wants to do everything by themselves. Everything is supposed to be very individualistic. So obviously there's no business to be made there. Now I think because those early adopters have started showing signs of success, some sort of success, right? So now more people have started getting interested, and that is why the numbers are going up and up and up. I was able to talk to like 4 5 different parents, and I was trying to get their perspective. Why did they homeschool? Main reason basically is like, I don't think my kid needs 8 hours to study 1 plus 1 and all that, like early childhood. They're like, we don't need that. And I was like, what do you think about socialization? So they're like, we have a group of all homeschooled kids. So these guys meet like once a week, and they do stuff together. We have like annual party and like annual day and stuff like that. So they are getting all those things, and instead of going to the school for 8 hours, they're doing for 2 hours. So that is basically one big reason. Then other is, one of the kids started specializing in music. He's like, okay, I mean, we figured out what this guy wants to do and what this guy is going to do. We obviously need to make sure that this person is in the society. They can get like a valid, I don't know, visa or something like that eventually. So they need a degree and all. And they need to be like 10th pass, 12th pass, of course, right? So for that, they have to like teach that kid at home, or they get tutors basically. And rest of the time they devote to music. Like those kind of things people have started doing for specifically those kind of scenarios. Like, of course, it makes sense. Ki, yaar, you're not sending them to school. This is not about then ki your kid is so great at maths and science and everything that you're like, "Ki, this is
Yeah, yeah,
not
yeah.
happening with the current batch, right? Both different scenario. That's a different thing. But the people that I talked to majorly were about uh, these kind of people. And then one, I was like, that I did not understand, and I told them as well that, okay, I don't get it, but okay, you do you. Which is, they're like, we want to travel more. Like, okay, makes sense. They're like, yeah, जब school में है, तो then we can only go and travel
It
when
sounds
the kid
very.
has holidays.
I'm gonna say that sounds
I said the same thing. I was like, okay, they're like, yeah, we get it.
putting the needs.
What this
These are
is what
not good parents.
These are some of the reasons why people want to homeschool. And the biggest this thing is, people are like, okay, how will your child learn how to talk to other people? How will your child learn? Basically, socialization was like 90% of the
Yeah.
of this thing. Ki, how will they know how to talk to people? And
I
we're
mean,
like,
I feel
bro,
like
this
why are
guy
people
not
so like pressed about that? Because I mean, already like 90% of Indian men go to boys only schools and don't know how to socialize anyways.
exactly. And but okay, these are like people from
Yeah, yeah,
Bombay.
no, and I'm
Uh,
kidding.
Bombay, Bangalore. So these guys have co-ed schools. I had a boys' school, so I could have raised this question to my mother and father. कि ये क्या है? But second concern that comes up is, one of the parent needs to be involved, which is kind of sort of true. Like, you cannot have both the parents working like, heavy jobs, and studying, oh sorry, teaching your children as well. Like, that's not going to happen. So yeah, the IP music that you hear is Kachra wala. Can't do
Yeah.
anything about it, unfortunately.
Uh,
Yeah. So one of the parents has to be involved if you want to homeschool your child like the right way. Some people say that you need to be rich. As per what I found, it's not really true. But you have to have one parent involved. That is like, that is true. That can mean that you're rich. That can mean that, just you're doing okay as well. Like, it's not that big a deal. Then I was like, okay, I was searching for what kind of companies are there in this field. I don't know how to
are there any
say this.
companies in India? Because like I know there's a couple I've heard of in the US, but
Hmm.
I've not really heard much about the homeschooling ecosystem in India, other than I think there's like a national NIOS.
Yeah, so NIOS is like a
That's a
board. Like,
government
it's
board. No, that's right. Yeah.
I'm not even really board. It's like a system. I don't know if it's supposed to be called a board,
Okay.
but basically they are the ones who give you that, these are the
Test.
things we will have to, we will test you
Got
on.
it.
Like, these are the
Yeah.
subjects, and what does the subject include and
Yeah.
stuff. Then there are a bunch of like communities in India. Like this one called Open Learners Collective or something. There's unschooling, like unacademy. There is swashikshana. That's that is how it's called. So these are like communities, kind of things. Like you go and talk. Okay, this is what my kid is struggling with. This is what how do you solve this and all those. And they have like membership fees. That is how they make money. Not all of them, but some of them. There are like guidance services. There are content services that basically come up as well, like as companies. These are like even Vedantu has an arm for that. So these are like very standardized. Like I don't think anybody can now get in. I mean, obviously you can get in, but it's not going to be very easy. After that, like there are things like so these kids have to have classes going on. Like they have to study. It's not like you're not supposed to homeschool your child and let them
Chill.
play,
Yeah.
chill. Yeah. You're supposed to get them to do something
Yeah.
productive, right? If you're saying that, okay, my child is an esports player, different case. But if that is not the
Yeah.
case, right, then they're not supposed to just laze around and play video games. So they are supposed to be doing
Yeah.
something. The classes that people are supposed to get, either you have to go to the class or the teacher comes to you. The two cases, right? Basically at home or at outside home. That's the two cases. So for homeschooling, there are like obviously teachers that are required.
Hmm.
When I asked how do you get those teachers, it's like very hush hush. Like, oh, can you tell me which teacher? Can you tell me
Yeah.
which teacher? Can you? I think there is a business to be made here for standardizing those teachers. I mean, not exactly pronto, but
I know what
uh,
you're talking about, like kind of like a marketplace for the best teachers.
yeah, marketplace for teachers where you can rate them and all. Or I don't know if rating makes sense, but like basically you need to have some sort of a way for me to figure out, okay, if I want to go
Yeah.
homeschooling, I want, let's say, maths
Yeah.
teachers who can teach online or who can come to my place in Bombay or Bangalore or whatever. How do I
Yeah.
find that person?
I mean, okay, the one question I have on like homeschooling in India is that basically tuition homeschooling ही तो होता है.
Yes, it's that, but just that you're also spending time in
Yeah,
school.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's exactly what is happening. So I mean, if you can just put tuition teachers for
yeah,
every
yeah.
course, right? You might as well not send the child to
No,
school.
I
Like that's the
disagree. I
same.
mean, I think school you go just to hang out with your friends.
Yeah,
Yeah,
socialization. That's what you're
yeah.
saying. But
You just
then
go to
you're thinking you don't have friends at home.
no, we do, but it's different.
Okay. I mean, I get it. I get it what you're saying.
Like
If
being
you want
part
to
of
go
a
and hang out with
collective
your friends,
experience, struggling and just kind of
common enemy.
yeah, just dealing with shit,
You want a common enemy there.
dealing with shit together
Uh,
at school. I think
yeah.
is a good life building skill.
I don't
Yeah,
disagree. But these are the facts that I'm just saying. Okay. Again, none of us are endorsing homeschooling. We're just saying what I found. But yeah, basically there's this probably a need for like finding these teachers that can take you through the whole pedagogy rather than like assisting you or something like that. Because most of the tuition teachers are helping people get their homework done, and that is not the case here.
no,
You don't have homework here. I mean, early stage, that's what
okay,
teachers
early
do
stage.
generally.
Well, yeah, I guess I don't really have tuitions until like ninth, 10th grade.
9, 10th, you're trying to get good numbers
Yeah,
in,
yes. But
I don't
like
know,
this was
you
like
if you
the
had
all the
boards.
teachers would teach the concepts again because like the school teachers kind
Yeah.
of sucked.
Those are the kind of things that are sort of missing right now.
Yeah.
There is like an elective body for like a group of kids, and then they're always discussing things on WhatsApp only. So like they're like the experience is just very hard to get by.
Wait, they're all
I'm
like
pretty sure.
spending more times on their screens?
No, parents.
Parents, okay.
Yeah, parents. So parents are spending trying to figure out things on like WhatsApp and stuff. Everything for an apartment or a society used to happen on WhatsApp. Then it moved to sort of MyGate now. There would be something like that to sort of accommodate these people. So they're like, "कि, okay, इस area के अंदर whoever is homeschooling, everyone is here in this neighborly kind of an
Yeah,
app,
yeah,
and they set up play dates and stuff. But I mean, that's also something that I found was missing. These guys are like, just do whatever, don't build another software. I was like, makes sense. Because apparently everyone's like, hey, we'll come and help you manage your
yeah.
homeschool. We'll help you keep track of when did your child study this and when did your child study that. And they're like, yeah, that is very easy because we have a we have a calendar that we sort of
track.
have a recurring calendar, and it's automated. I'm like, okay, makes sense. These guys have started using AI a lot, is what I figured out. Because whenever there's a question, they teach the kid to ask the AI first. I mean, not first, second.
Yeah,
First, they're like,
itself.
why don't you try by
Yeah,
yourself, exhaust it, go through the books, then you go and ask the AI. Or sometimes parents are like, just ask me and then I'll ask AI.
yeah,
But with the AI, at least they're like, now we don't need to worry about the fact that, yeah, the thing that I have to teach, do I also
yeah.
know? So AI has sort of unlocked that, and there are some AI products around that as well, not in India but outside. I guess homeschooling is a bigger trend outside
No,
anyway,
I mean
so it
it's a
makes
big
sense.
trend in the US for sure, because US definitely always has had like a bit of like counterculture kind of folks who are like, oh fuck the system, like we're gonna do live off the grid, teach our kids the way we want to be taught. I feel like it goes really well or really poorly. There's no like I've not heard of someone having like an average experience being homeschooled. It's either great or terrible.
I mean, I think there are like opportunities, and the thing is, right now the trend is like limited to about, I think, 75 or 80,000 families is what data point I got
In India,
uh, in India.
75, that's tiny.
That's tiny, bro. India, mein, you know how
Okay,
many families are
fine.
there?
That's like it's like Vasant Kunj se bhi, or like Indranagar, like not even Indranagar.
Probably
Yeah,
Indiranagar, yeah.
yeah.
It's a very small trend, but like it's a growing trend. It's a very engaged trend. It's like more jagruk people. They are more willing to spend money to get an ROI. It's not like, right, and plus it's education
Yeah,
anyway. So like
yeah,
that's anyway
yeah.
true. So yeah, I mean, there's this opportunity waiting to
But
be
I'll
taken.
let me tell you the counter opportunity. I think studying in the first five grades is kind of irrelevant, anyways. You
Yeah,
don't learn. I think the bigger
like,
opportunity, which every like decade or so, or maybe longer time frame happens in India, is a bunch of parents get together and they're like, we don't like the existing schools in our like city, so we're gonna like fund the development of a new school. And we're going to create a new board and a new, or like we're going to bring a different board from the US or the UK or whatever. So I think now, like, I think this is how TISP has popped up in Bangalore, at least from one person's recollection of telling this to me. I could be completely wrong, but I think you could,
what's TISP?
the International School Bangalore, and like it's kind of a residential school. At least the story I heard about the school was there was a bunch of people who were originally from Bangalore who had migrated to the US for masters and were working there, and who had all moved back to Bangalore to work during the IT return trend in like the early 2000s. Wanted to set up a
Hmm.
school for their kids who had like gone to school a bit in the US, or they just wanted to send these kids to a non CBSE or not state board school. So they kind of got the school created that like teaches IB and stuff. So I feel like that's kind of the trend where like people are not happy with the existing education system and they just create their own institutions around it.
I don't know if that is how. Okay, what's the trend here?
The trend is people coming in building new schools. I don't know if it's a trend per se, but like the I guess the trend could be that more people are going to IB schools and alternative
Yeah,
education schools, and more people are
right.
going to liberal arts colleges and studying abroad. So to prepare for that experience, you need a different kind of school experience that the average CBSE school or the JE prep schools might not provide. Parents are more keen on a more holistic education experience.
Right. So yeah, what you're saying is then there's a trend, or maybe there's a
Yeah.
need. Just like how we have JE schools, we might need SAT schools.
Well, yeah. Like the SAT prep is very easy. It doesn't take that much time. But
I mean, depends now. If everything is a competition at the end
no,
of the
no. But
day,
I see,
right?
like for example, is like JE is the only like number that matters when you're applying to IIT, right?
Yeah.
SAT is a score where like if you're 90th percentile, you're kind of all treated in the same bucket. Like if you get 1500, someone gets 1520, someone gets 1540, someone gets 1480. Roughly, like that score is not gonna determine if you get into Harvard or not. It's everything
But there are
around that.
other
Yeah,
factors.
yeah,
Yeah. So how does a school help you with the other factors other than just the score is the problem statement. So that is for which the schools will come in, because I think if you do JE prep you can also probably get 90% tile, I'm guessing
yeah.
SATs. So that thing is anyway
Yeah,
there, right?
yeah.
If you just want that. But if you want actually to get in, you have to have other things. And for which you will need like a specialized place. Maybe this is a trend that is going to pop off pretty soon. Because everywhere, like at least around me, like everyone's like, okay, I don't want my kid to do JE. Because they're like, I went through the trauma so that my kid doesn't have to.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. If you have a kid, would you make them go do JE prep?
it's too soon, too soon to figure out. But yeah, ideal case for me is obviously
Thought
no.
about it, no?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, ideally
Okay,
no.
okay.
Yeah, it's just too draining, dude. Like it's
Yeah.
you.
No, I remember I told my parents in sixth grade, I'm like, I know it was easy when you
Yeah,
guys did it. The hell I am not doing. Gonna go through
yeah,
this.
correct. And I think Jay should be like one person in the family if they are able to do it. I think take your win, bro. Like, so yeah, that was a haphazard homeschooling
Okay,
uh,
but would you homeschool your
thing.
kids?
That's a great question, and it actually depends on what we end up doing. Like, if actually, let's say me or my wife, somebody has
Yeah.
time, I would like to,
Okay.
because I would like to think that I would want them to be able to do other shit. And school experience, to be honest, for me was weird. Like it was as school, as you said, like it was a very one track school, right? Like our PT exam, PT classes would be like, okay, social science पढ़ लिए, then maths पढ़ लिया तब, like for some reason
क्या
we would
तुम
not
बाहर
go
नहीं
out.
खेलने जाते थे पीई में?
Not all the time, because some teacher if who's like behind on their
She would just take
curriculum,
class.
she would just stay. Yeah,
Even in
that
sixth,
was
seventh grade.
till 10th grade. Yeah,
Really? That's insane.
yeah. Yeah.
That sounds
The-
depressing.
so we used to have like a library period.
वो भी ले लेते थे.
वो भी ले लेते थे. We used to have
Yoga?
P, P ले लेते थे. Yoga में there was till fifth standard there was moral science, so that also had its own curriculum, so we
Oh,
couldn't take
damn.
it. So any non-curriculum, non-graded, non-structure class. For example, there was this arts का एक class होता था, then एक music class होता था. They would be taken up.
At least our school, the one good thing they did was like you could like teachers could not like abruptly like take over
Take up a.
classes. I think 11th, 12th it might have happened, but I had left that CBSE school by then,
Mm,
so I don't. But I think like I mean ultimately what you're boiling down to is like you don't want your kid to have the same school experience that you had.
correct, because it was a very one-track experience, and like I've seen other people now.
Yeah,
Like I used to think this is life, right? Like growing up, I was like, okay, yeah, yeah. All my friends are going through the same
yeah,
shit, right? But then now I've seen
yeah,
life. Now I'm like, okay, there is more to life, and of course, then I would want my kids
yeah.
to go
But
through
then
the
I
other.
guess would you like how would you think about like IB school versus homeschool for your kid?
I am actually not well informed on IB. Having said that, like the school I went to in 11th and 12th was more of an IB school with like one class given to us, and that was taken over by like the JE coaching class. So I used to have a very uh,
Yeah,
jealous view of them. Like I was like, these guys are the ones who are living life. Because I mean, back in the day, like if you were going to IB, like you
yeah,
had to
yeah,
have
yeah,
money,
yeah.
of course. So that was one
I mean, I
aspect.
think you still need
But
to have money. It's like not cheap.
but and now I
No,
have
you
money
have
is
money.
what I feel. Right. uh, but even the coursework, the exam, I went through the 10th standard maths exam, and I was like, holy shit, yeah, to I would have scored 100 out of 100 any day without even trying. Like that was my
अब
reaction.
तुम इंग्लिश
So
देखना फिर देखना तुम्हारा क्या हाल होता.
ठीक है, आई मीन मेक सेंस. इंग्लिश में मेरा इधर भी हाल अच्छा नहीं था तो.
क्या 95 नहीं है तुम्हारे बोर्ड में?
नहीं
Uh,
यार. IB makes sense, but homeschooling also makes sense. Of course, IB would be probably the practical choice.
I don't think I could homeschool my kids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense.
I mean, I think just like you said, like the time wise, I feel like I think in today's day and age, you have to be like so pragmatic about, okay, like are you or your wife actually gonna step back from your career to do this, and how does that impact the rest of your life?
So that's what I'm saying. If let's say either I or my wife steps
Yeah,
back, then I would love
yeah,
to. But otherwise, it's not something that
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah,
needed.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Fair enough.
okay, so you had some stories prepared. I'm ready for some stories to listen.
I have
Uh,
tried finding some stories about Indian startups that I think our audience has never heard of or has probably forgotten.
hmm,
We're gonna
hmm.
start it off.
Our younger audience,
Dude, I feel
younger
like
audience.
people in startups don't remember all of these shenanigans anymore. Like you might, but you've been part of the you're like an OG of the ecosystem. So a lot of the people like what is the first startup you worked at? Start show.
I mean, like a legit startup or a
No,
startup
मतलब
startup.
register और I दोनों बता दे.
I think so. Legit one, I would say the one you might have heard would be Jabong,
Yeah. Do you think half
right?
of our audience remembers Jabong? Hell no.
Of course not.
Do you think people even remember who got Jabong got acquired by?
I hope.
Who did Jabong get acquired by?
Mintra.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, so the companies that we might not have heard of.
But
Yeah,
I
go
think
ahead.
the yeah.
The stage is
The
yours.
first one is I think everyone hopefully remembers this. They kind of made a lot of noise. There's a company called housing.com.
Ah,
And
Rahul
IIT
Yadav.
Bombay legend Rahul Yadav.
Right.
They spent $1 million to buy a domain and a phone number.
Phone number. Yeah,
Phone number I did
I
not
remember.
remember. Domain I
You
remember.
don't.
But I was like,
I was
yeah.
I was there at Hiranandani when the news broke
Oh
out. I
wow.
was like, whoa. And I was like,
Yeah,
that is what I was
yeah.
doing. But yeah,
So
go
a
ahead.
company was started in 2012. I think it was one of the first Indian companies where like there was such an emphasis on design. Like I remember the housing.com website used to look nice. Like compared to like whatever 99 acres and like magic bricks and all like
Policy
yeah, like
Bazaar.
the old classified stuff that just looked shit. I mean, I was still only in high school at the time, so I was obviously not interacting with people who worked at these companies, but it seemed like they cared a lot more about that. And I think it was the first time I had ever seen an Indian company actually care about that. Do you remember why the company went viral though?
Multiple reasons. One was obviously they had made a big deal about this. They had fought with I think this guy called uh, A Kejriwal.
No, they fought. He went and wrote an email to the MD of Sequoia to stop poaching his employees. Do you not remember this?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Shailendra
yeah,
Singh,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. I think it was
Yeah,
the first time where I was like, "Oh shit!" Like Sequoia is in the news again.
yeah. So they were saying that under the guise of due diligence, you're trying to poach our employees for maybe other
Yeah,
companies or
yeah, yeah, yeah.
some stuff
And
like that.
then Sheldon was like, "We don't need to do that" or something like that. And then
Yeah.
the company was burning a lot of money, and it did not work out very well.
So on the design side, right? Like you remember I had a friend on
Yes.
Kushagra. You were not
Yeah, yeah,
there.
yeah.
So Kushagra used to work at housing, and he
Oh,
was
really?
like, yeah, he was a designer
Okay.
there. He basically said that agar housing if housing was not there, the Indian design industry would not have existed. Like they were the ones who actually got it onto the map and who made it a
Yeah,
career that
yeah,
people can
yeah,
sort of
yeah,
take. For specifically for design, like their mad props have to be given
yeah,
to them. Like it's not just a small thing.
yeah. I mean, he was just also like a very unique guy. Like I remember when he was getting kicked out of the company, he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna give all my equity to all the employees."
Rahul
Yeah,
Yadav
yeah,
is what
yeah,
he
yeah,
said.
yeah. Like
Hmm.
I don't think I've seen anyone else in India do anything like that.
But what do you think he had done after
Dude,
that?
he's fucking a fraud. I mean, it's like okay, like I forget. Like I don't remember if there was fraud per se in housing. It was just like a very poor run company. The other company they like embezzled money and shit.
Yeah, both
Yeah,
of them.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, oh, yeah.
So so he has done two companies after that, and both the companies basically he has been accused of fraud. I don't know what has actually
Well, I mean, if
happened,
you're
but this is
fucking if fund your investor is suing you for fraud, that's a
right.
pretty telling sign.
Right. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
fact.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what he has been basically not found guilty, but like basically he's been sued for fraud, of embezzling money, of getting your brother-in-law to open a company and then giving them some sort of a referral for every employee that joins, irrespective of whether the employee came from that company or not. Right, those kind of things he has sort of done, or at least that's what the investor is claiming.
100%. Now, do you want to do another story, or should I hit you with one more?
You can go ahead.
Okay. Do you remember? I'm gonna tell you the founders of these company, and then you're gonna try to guess who these people
Hmm.
are and why they're also
Hmm.
currently still very relevant. Have you heard of
Hmm.
the names Avnish Bajaj and Suvir
Hmm.
Gujjar?
The partners of Matrix Fund, which is now called
They're
Z47.
actually not both at Matrix.
Oh, they're not.
So
They were, no?
Avnish started Z47 Matrix Partners India, and
Hmm.
Suvir started Nexus. But these guys,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah. So they're actually different
Okay, okay.
firms. They're still very close friends apparently, but they both went
Hmm.
to HBS in the
Hmm.
late 90s, and they
HBS is Harvard Business School.
they started a
Hmm.
company called Bazi.com.
Yeah,
What is
I know that.
Bazi.com?
If I remember correctly, it was like
It
eBay.
was literally they like we found eBay in the US. We're gonna start
Uh,
eBay. They did it,
in India
and then 4 years later, they
for
sold
50
it to
million.
eBay.
They sold it to eBay.
Yes,
Oh, I did not know that.
and
I know that they sold it for 50 million or
yes,
so,
and it
but
was actually
I
a
did not.
very big buy for eBay at the time because eBay in 2004 was only worth $750 million. That was their market cap.
Wow.
So they spent like a good like 8% of the company to acquire
Hmm.
Bazi,
Yeah.
and I don't think it worked very well because when the acquisition happened, Avnish and Suvir in the media were like, "Oh, this is not an acquisition; it's a strategic buyer, and we're gonna continue to be at the company for a while." And I don't think that lasted very long, and they lasted very long
Hmm.
there. There's also another reason why this company was infamous.
Okay.
Do you
Why?
remember? You don't remember?
Hmm.
Really? 2004?
Yeah, it went for Cricket World Cup.
No.
No, that was three.
Um,
India versus Pakistan.
this company was infamous because the CEO was arrested in December 2024 because there was a
2024.
yeah, no, sorry, 2004. Yeah.
Okay. Hmm.
There was a MMS video that got uploaded of a girl having sex or something.
Damn. On Bazi.com.
Yeah, the video was being sold on Bazi.com.
Holy
And
shit.
so the Delhi police arrested him for publishing obscene material, where I assume it was just like an open marketplace and India didn't have very good quality.
It was all new back then, I
Yeah, yeah,
guess,
yeah.
but
So I think the
makes sense.
movie, you've seen that movie Ragni MMS. So
Yeah.
I think that is inspired by this whole scenario because I remember it being like a big thing in Delhi around the time.
Uh, makes
So
sense. Makes sense. Do you know which are the biggest companies Avnish and Suvir have backed? So
yes,
first tell me which is the biggest company Avnish has backed?
biggest company Avnish has backed has like Avnish himself or Matrix,
Matrix.
Ola,
Matrix.
Ola Electric,
Yes.
Krutre,
Ola, correct.
five
And Suvir?
star business.
Suvir?
Veer, I think is I mean Zepto Boys.
Zomato.
Not exactly.
I mean, not early stage, but
No,
they did
he
back.
did not back. At least from my understanding of this, is that he backed a
Hmm.
runner that got acquired by Zomato, and then they put in additional money into Zomato.
Oh, damn it. Yeah, my AI needs to be better
Yeah.
then.
He was the one who did the first round of Zepto, though.
Oh,
And he was also the one who did an early round in Snapdeal.
in Snapdeal?
Yes. And also in your
Uh,
ex-employer.
Which one? Unacademy? Yeah, that I remember. I remember the
Yeah,
meeting as well.
yeah, yeah. Okay. But like I think he's the quick commerce guy in India. Slick Snabbit Zepto.
Pretty good, I would say, like choices. You remember Rediff?
Yes, I remember.
You told
I've
me you
heard. I
did.
don't think I've used Rediff very much, but I do remember Rediff.
Okay. My dad still uses it
Okay, wow.
for his email,
It's still up
primary
and
email.
running.
Yeah, yeah, Rediff email is
Yeah.
there. Even Rediff.com is there. It's like it tried to position itself as like Yahoo of India, then it tried to position itself as Google of India. And neither of those things worked. But it was listed on NASDAQ, if I remember correctly. Early on, there was a problem
Hmm.
because there was dial-up,
Hmm.
right? So because of dial-up, like nothing would load.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you remember dial-up, but like basically, if somebody picks up the
Then
phone or
internet
somebody calls you,
had
it's
gone.
it's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's gone.
Yeah.
So and the browsers were not sophisticated enough that they could restart and shit.
Yes.
And this was like one of the early websites of India. Like 1995, India receives internet, and these are launched in 1996 or something like that. People were trying to basically the biggest use case initially was cricket scores.
Ah, fair.
uh of course, right? So people would try and open reddit.com, try to open the score. Somehow they would have like Sachin Tendulkar ka face, and it would load pixel by
Oh
pixel.
God.
That is the
Yeah.
experience everyone was getting, because you get like 9.6 kbps in dial-up. That's like the best case scenario. And then if the image is like 100 or 200 kb, right, like it will like load very lowly. So they would have to like do a very low res photo. Like sometimes you wouldn't even make out who the person is. So cricket score was one thing, but they're like, oh, cricket score is fine, like it's a data, it's a real time thing, I can't do anything about it. But then there are other things that people were searching about, and essentially people were using it kind of like a mini Wikipedia,
Yep.
where they're like, okay, this movie did this much money, this movie is going to come out this at this point of time, or this movie came out at this point, or not specifically news, but like these are the policies that have been framed on that this date, that date, like those kind of things,
Yep.
kind of like an
Yep. Yep.
encyclopedia. So they're like, okay, now we want people to sort of get addicted to this. How do we do that? So this is basically an article I found. So it could be wrong, but I found one article which basically says this, and then every AI that I asked said yes, 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 yes. So I was like, okay, fine. And my father told me that he also has done this, which is basically with the PC Quest magazines, and they're like Edge magazine, and like there are a bunch of magazines which were like about the computers. You would get free CDs with it.
Yes.
So Rediff, what they would do is they would load their entire portal onto the CD and just ship it.
Oh wow.
So, so the early internet in India was delivered via CD.
Completely like different, but it reminds me of this hackathon project I saw at the University at Michigan in 2014. Someone was like, we're gonna try building a web browser where we're gonna send HTML over SMS.
Oh, okay.
Very different, but that's where my mind went to when I heard this.
Yeah,
But so then, like people would like put in the
yeah. They
same.
would be able to use, correct. So they would be only able to use whatever is there. If they click on something that is external, that is not there, it will try to contact the internet.
Yeah, yeah,
But if that was not the case, it will just run fine.
yeah. But then basically it just had like a lot of content you could kind of just like keep clicking through in your browser. It was just like all raw HTML files.
Yeah, yep,
Fascinating.
yep. That's it.
Wow. I did not know that. Well, now do you want to hear the story of how Nexus actually became an investor in Zomato?
Okay, let's go.
Okay. So, popular to contrary belief, like Zomato was very late on the food delivery story.
Of course. Why is it popular to
Dude,
it's a
people
popular
people
belief.
don't remember, like all these fucking kids don't remember what happened 10 years ago in the Indian
Okay,
ecosystem.
makes sense, makes
Like,
sense, makes
okay,
sense. Yeah.
when like have you talked to like a 25-year-old and asked them like, oh, do you remember a life before Flipkart? And they'll be like, uh
Makes sense, makes sense.
but and like Swiggy also was not like the first company. It was like very
Hmm.
early, but there was another company called TinyOwl. I don't know if you
TinyOwl. Yep.
remember TinyOwl.
I've used it.
And TinyOwl, I think it was a Bombay company, right?
Yeah. So this tiny owl housing, everyone was of the same this thing. So in fact, yeah, IT bomb. In fact, I think tiny owl people were like one of the early engineers at housing, and they saw what is happening. They're like, okay, we'll do something similar. And they went and started doing tiny owl.
And they raised money from Sequoia, and Nexus in their first round. It
Hmm.
was a $2 million round
Hmm.
in 2014. And this is,
Yeah, somewhere.
yeah. And at this time, a $2 million round for your first round was fairly like large, I would say.
Big.
I don't think.
It was a very big deal.
And they kind of started like expanding like crazy. A year later, they raised a total of like $25 million across a 17.5 million Series B and a 7.5 million Series C. I don't know if these were two distinct rounds or just like one round in two tranches. But like all companies around that era, 2016 तक इंडिया में पैसे खत्म हो गए. I don't remember if you remember when like there was this huge tiger came and सबको पैसे दिए, and then 2016 tiger was like, we're getting the fuck out of India and we're not going to give anyone money.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so Tiny Owl had overexpanded and they were burning like 10 crores a month. This is when the
Hmm.
rupee was I think 50 or 55. So it was like $2 million a month they were burning. Because that is
Yeah.
important context to add here.
Yeah.
And I believe they they just did not manage scale well, and as a result, you would have thought, okay, maybe they shut down, but they were merged into a different company called Roadrunner, which was also kind of doing something similar, but it was only doing like fleet management, I believe.
Yes.
And Roadrunner plus Tiny Owl became Runner,
Right.
and then I think a couple of years later, Runner got acquired by Zomato for the measly sum of $40 million. And that
Right.
is how Zomato was actually able to build their food delivery business into a very large scale
Right.
operation.
So can I tell you my what I remember from
Yeah.
the this time? So Tiny all started.
Yes.
They said we want to have an asset light model. We want to be like
Yeah.
Uber, which is we only want to do the most valuable part, which is getting the order
Yeah.
apparently. Okay. So they started out like that. But what ended up happening is because now restaurants were supposed to do the logistics, like it was hard to track
Yeah.
them, and
Yeah.
then like as the experience was very bad. Okay. I think that is when when Swiggy started. They're like, okay, we will not, we will have to do the counter position here. So they're like, okay, we'll do end to end. And when Swiggy started, they started with truffles in Bangalore. They're like, okay, truffles, we send a person, and the guy will stand there and be like, sir, this is the order. They'll take the order and then go and
Yes.
deliver.
Yeah.
That's how Swiggy started. These guys did not think that we can still, we still need to change. They're like, these guys are doing some mistake, which is they'll need a lot of money. Swiggy will need a lot of money. That is why we don't want to go that route, and they try to stick to their current model, and that did not
Yeah.
work
Then
out,
they're
of
like, okay,
course.
fuck, we need to go do this and raise a
Yeah.
shit ton of money.
So then they got merged with Roadrunner, and it became Runner. And Runner like, okay, now we don't have the scale of
Yeah, no, but the the the
this thing.
the merge happened after Runner had after Tiny All had already started going to shit.
Yeah, I mean, they were not good at
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
That's why they had to, right? What happened is Zomato, when it started, also did the same mistake.
yeah,
They are like, we are also going to be the ordering layer. But with that thing, what they did was they were able to go all over India because they already had the database. Even though they had the same problem, but they had like the scale to
yeah,
get
and they
started.
also had the relationship with the restaurants where like that side of the
Yeah,
marketplace
that's
was
what.
already kind of covered in
Yeah.
addition to having all the data.
So that data, that's what I meant, like the relationship. Then they're like, okay, this model is also going to be a problem. So even though they are at scale, but now that at least they have scale, now they can attach a logistics unit, and that's how they decided, I guess.
But it's funny how like I mean Zomato has continually built great businesses by acquiring dying companies for like the food delivery business would not have really worked if they hadn't required Runner,
Yeah.
Tiny Owl plus Roadrunner probably raised like over 80-90 million dollars, I would assume. I need to go
Hmm.
like not doing public math, but like Tiny Owl itself raised like 30-40 million.
Hmm.
And the combined entity was acquired for less than the capital it raised. And that's how Zomato delivers PAT every quarter. And then they were
Hmm.
able to acquire Blinkit for kind of not very expensive either. And that now
Yeah.
becomes like 60-70% of the business. and then they
Right.
were able to acquire Insider for like under $200 million from Paytm, and we'll see
Right.
how big that gets.
That
Yeah.
goes, yeah. I mean, but I still think it's not just that they just acquire. I think they just have like good
Oh, yeah.
operational capabilities, and that is the reason rather than just
No, no, I
getting
mean,
something at
like
cheap.
obviously it's like it's more than that, but it's kind of like they know how to acquire and operate these companies better than they were being run and deliver more gains for their kind of group company or whatever.
Cool, awesome, awesome. Then thank you so much for listening till now. If you enjoyed or if you did not enjoy as well, like just hit the like button,
And subscribe.
co- and subscribe. Comment homeschooling
Homeschool.
down there and share it with your friends. And we'll see you next week. Happy Holi if but we're anyway 1 week late anyway.
But tell us which day Holi actually was on. So
Yeah, so we're recording is on third.
we're
So
recording it on
let us know
the
when
4th.
is
What are you talking about?
this is third.
4th. It's Holi today.
Okay, sure. Okay, chalo, see ya.
Okay, bye.
Bye.